What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, the author, back at that ass again. Here's another one. I just want to make this short video, man. I'm gonna try to keep it short. Excuse the towel, man. I got a crick in my neck. I had to put that icy hot on there to try to get rid of that. Had a little bit of pain in my back too, so ain't nothing better than getting out of the hot shower and then getting that icy hot on them pain points, you know. Shaq ain't halfway wrong about that. Nice little cold drink too. But I just want to start this video off by, man, I was when I was in the shower, I was thinking about this, man, and I saw I'll get straight to the point. This I want to call it what do you call those? A troll. Some troll left this message on my on one of my videos that I posted. She left a comment under one of my videos, and you click on the comment page, and you know, I went to her page. It said Black Beauty or something like that, and it was no content up, like no favorite videos, no likes, no trail of videos that she liked, nothing, none of her own personal videos, nothing. So yeah, this so that's why I call it a troll. So this troll went ahead and left a comment under my video and said that you know, I guess she was mad because I said black women need to stop lying, and the troll probably made up a fake account. So you know, stop saying what you saying, you black big lip bitch or something like that, and you know, you black bitch, you ugly, you know, and on top of that, a lot of black women are married. Look at that small little place you in. You know, y'all niggas is broke, XYZ. So, I mean, and it's okay if you know, if you name call, I don't mind that. You know what I'm saying? That's nothing, man. But at least have a valid page if you are gonna make a negative comment. Have a valid page. That way I can respond back to you, and that way I can take your comment halfway seriously. If you have a page where you at least have some content, then I can respond back to you, and not feeling like I'm responding back to a troll who just made up a fake page because she was angered at what I said about black women. And here's the thing, man, and with that weak ass comment, it made me think about you know, and it probably was a black woman who did that, who just happened to didn't even really have a page, but came across one of my videos and was angered because I said black women need to stop lying. That video has gotten some responses, more responses than than some of my other videos, a lot of my other videos, and I haven't even had to promote black women need to stop lying, and people are still hitting it up, you know, and leaving some comments. So she was mad about that. But here's the thing, man, and here's what gets me to my point. I may call this video that hood rich mentality that blacks, a lot of black inner city folks. I'm from the inner city myself, so I know about that hood rich mentality. So here's the thing, man, and it probably was an angry black woman, but here's the thing. Now they'll look behind me and they'll see this is a one room. This is a part of a condo, and this condo is in a nice community. And this community, you can barely hear anything, man. You can hear a pin drop. You know, it's filled with working class people, a lot of college students, things of that nature. So, you know, they'll look at this and see this room. Of course, there's a larger room out there in the living area and a nice kitchen. But they'll make comments like that. And especially, I was in this black quote unquote black roast group, and then a guy saw me take a picture, have my computer, and said, "Yeah, tell me you don't live don't tell me you living in one of those hotels, you know, like where they, you know, for like the homeless people, like the females on Section 8 with all the kids." Now he probably lives in a hotel, that's why he knows about this. But her comment reminded me of his comment. And here's the thing, man. A lot of black people, especially in the inner city, man, they rather look like they have money than actually have money. And that's one of the bigger problems. It's a mentality type problem. Not so much, I mean, it's resources, but now they've messed our, because if you have a lot of resources, you can use that as a motivation to climb up to the top. But when you have a messed up mentality, man, that will keep you down in the gutter for a long period of time. Not to say that there is no force that's keeping things in play. I do believe that there is a greater force at hand. But here's the thing, that force, when they play with your mind or mind tricks like they have with the black community, and you don't fight against those mind tricks, you could be messed up, man, real fucked up. And this is what Bobby Wright, he was a psychiatrist, sociologist. He worked in mental health, passed away in '82. There are no black mental health centers. And I think that's for a reason. He had the only one, and that was like in 1980. But a lot of, there's very few, if any, black mental health clinics. And that's why he made I think a speech or his video or a lecture is called Menticide. I think he has a book called Menticide. I haven't got a chance to read that yet, but based on his lecture, and here's the thing, is that hood rich mentality, a lot of black people, we rather go out and look like we have something than to rather have something. You'll have a lot of these females and males, they'll ride around in these Escalades and these expensive vehicles, sometimes a Lexus or a Benz or whatever. And sometimes the vehicle, and a lot of us know this, and sometimes the vehicle, the car payment, they're making car payments because most of them don't own these vehicles unless they're about 10 or 15 years old. But a lot of times the car payment will be like half of the mortgage, half of what they pay, and some of them don't even have. So the car payment, a lot of them aren't. A lot of them who play the hood rich game, they aren't even home owners. You know what I'm saying? I repeat that. They'll have a Benz or Escalade, a lot of blacks in the inner city, and even some in the middle class too, but this is real prevalent in the inner city. They'll have Benz, Beamers, and all that crap, but, they're not homeowners, one, and two, a lot of times the car payment is almost as expensive as the rent. And so they're living in an apartment, but they'll ride around making it look like they have something. But then they'll live in an apartment, or they'll be renting out a condo, or they'll be renting out a nice home. They'll be renting it out, not quote unquote, I'm sorry. They'll be renting out a nice home, and they'll call it their house, but they're not paying a mortgage. So they don't have a deed. They're not paying off a mortgage, but they're paying rent that's going to go up every year. And they're paying on something they're never going to own. So they have either renting a condo or renting out a house, and can barely keep up with the house note, and it's going to go up every year because it's rent. It's not like it's a mortgage where your payment is going to stay steady. And and a lot of times they don't even have, like I do. My job is to set up a lot of cable accounts for cable and internet that help people get cable and internet. And a lot of them don't even have $1 on their debit or credit card, man. And like most people who call me that don't have at least $1 on their debit card to process, so they can even process their order, so they can have TV, are our people, man, quote unquote, African Americans or whatever you want to call it, Aboriginals or whatever, copper colored, dark complected people who grew up in this country, who've been in this country for generations. They're the ones now there's some poor white folks as well, but in most cases, even if they're approved, they don't even have $1 on a card, man. And it's a sad type of thing, man, because they're living now, but you'll go in their driveway and you'll see a nice Escalade and you'll see a nice house that's rented, and they can't keep up with either payment. Because they'll let almost anybody rent a car. If you don't pay it, they'll just come and take it. They don't care how trash your credit is, right? But they'll rather do that, they'll rather rent out or pretty much be paying a high car payment and live in the ghetto renting out either a house or renting out a condo or renting out an apartment and live in the ghetto rather than not have a vehicle, live in a place that's more affordable, and being able to actually save money so they can become homeowners. Let me see that again. They rather purchase a vehicle that they can't afford, pay the car payment, rent out a house or a condo, not will never own it now, rent it out. And a lot of times that condo or that house is in a dangerous neighborhood, rather than not have a car for a while so they can save up for a mortgage so they can one day become homeowners and get their credit up and get their credit score up. That's the mentality of a lot of our people, man. And then they'll laugh at other people because, oh yeah, you don't have to. And it's the same. And it starts with the younger ages, man, with the Jordans, where they showed during that flood. I believe it was in Houston or somewhere, where they were what I think it was Houston or somewhere where they had that Hurricane Irene or something like that. I think it was last month or a couple months ago. I know Puerto Rico got hit with it. The kids weren't running in the stores to try to get supplies. They ran in the stores to try to get Jordans. Okay, $200 sneakers. Okay, and that's the same problem I had when I was teaching. Mothers would tell me they spent $2,000-$3,000 on Christmas gifts for the kids, shoes, video games, and all that, and then they wonder why the kids are acting out in class. No home library. No books, no paper. Every time they come to class, no pencil. All right, but you got an Xbox, you got Jordans, and you make fun of other kids that don't have them. You can't afford them. Just because someone bought them for you don't mean you can afford them. Your mother couldn't afford them when she bought them. It's a difference between being able to buy and being able to afford. A lot of our people don't even know that, but we're the only ones. The blacks are the only ones who are wasting their money on these high priced sneakers because the rest of the races don't even buy it because it only costs like about $14 to make this shoe, but they're gonna sell it on the market for $200. And I think this new guy where his kid is coming out to play basketball. I forget the kid's name, light skinned kid. His father is getting, because I think the son played for UCLA. And now he's playing for the Lakers. And his father said he's going to come out with a shoe that costs $400 to $600. And you know who he's targeting. He knows that blacks are going to be the ones trying to buy those pair of shoes. And we make the least out of everyone in the country. We're the bottom. I think on the eve of in 1860, on the eve of the Civil War, blacks owned 1% of all America's wealth. Now, in 2017, blacks own 1% of all America's wealth. So we pretty much have gone nowhere in terms of ownership. We're right back where we started, even before the Civil War when we were technically slaves. However, you'll have a black that's quick to make fun of another black. And it starts in school. They'll make fun of blacks because they don't have Jordans. Then when they become adults, they'll make fun of a black who doesn't have a car or doesn't have an Escalade, and the cycle continues. Like I said, even with this place I'm in, it's not the biggest place in the world, even though we have a large living room, but I'm in a safe area. A lot of these blacks are living in places, man, where there's 4 homicides and on their street in the past 2-3 weeks. Man, I'm in Charlotte. I see it all the time on TV. The crime rate is going up here in Charlotte, NC. And they'll have like about 4 or 5 homicides in a block radius. That's where they live. But they still have the Escalade. They're living in the ghetto or the hood, quote unquote, where you can't even trust anybody. But they'll make fun of someone else who decided, okay, I won't get the vehicle. I'll live in a cheaper place where I can share the area, but I'll live in a safe community while I save to become a homeowner. And that mentality, man, that's what's really helping us fall, that hood rich mentality. Was those rappers who made that song? Can't pay my rent 'cause all my money's spent. But that's okay 'cause I'm so fly. I stay fly. That's not okay, man. But and they made that, and that was a smash hit. And but that I mean, I don't respect the lyrics of that song. I think it was weak, but the hook was the song was right on point, man. And they call the album Hood Rich, and the album was right on point, man. A lot of people out of our people, copper colored people. I wouldn't say necessarily black, but we're put under the black umbrella. But the copper colored people, whether you want to call them Moors or Hebrew Israelites or Aborigines or whatever, we have that big problem, man. Well, especially the ones who live in the inner city. Now, maybe not so much of the ones who live in the upper class and the middle class, but they're more of the minority compared to the ones who live in the inner city. And even some of the middle class. I mean, it's that hood rich mentality where you want to look like you have something. Not to say that whites don't do that, but when you want to look the role and you can't afford it at all, how you gonna try to look the role? I can see an executive spending his last so much so he can look like he fits in with the executive club. He's executive of a big corporation. He leases a Ferrari. He hasn't quite gotten his first paycheck yet, but he wants to look the role so he can fit into the role of the rich, those stockholders. But I mean, if you're living in the ghetto where your kids might be shot, and then you're gonna buy an Escalade, who are you trying to keep up with? You don't own any stocks. A lot of these folks, especially in our community, they don't even have life insurance. You don't got life insurance. You don't got no medical. I heard that black women are worth about $5, and black women perpetuate this mentality too, man. They love to be hood rich because those the type of males who want to always look real nice. Well, I forgot what they call those males, metrosexuals or something like that. It's one step away from being homosexual, where they have to be neat and clean and have the chains and all that. I'm not saying when I was a kid I didn't try to subscribe to that a bit, because it was all you saw at school and things of that nature. But I did have a grandfather in the home, so I never went too far. I did have some testosterone in the home. Some of these guys just grew up with all females, but it's just that same type of mentality, man, where you always have to look the role, you have to look good, you have to look this way, look that way, but you can't afford it. And especially when the black females love doing that, man, love perpetrating. They'll lie to get an expensive vehicle, they'll lie to get what they want, but they can't afford it. And I wouldn't want to be someone who's because of course, if I want to look good, and I can go ahead and my credit is better than 90% of the black community, probably 95, because most of our people the credit scores are 500, in the 540s or below, or maybe 580s and below. If your credit score is 620 or above, your credit score is higher than the majority of black folks that's out here. But yeah, it's just that type of thing, man, where I would rather be a person without a vehicle, living in a safe neighborhood. And I don't even have kids, but I still want to live in a safe neighborhood. I'd rather not have an Escalade or have to take an Uber and not have the biggest place, but have that place in a safe environment, and one of those places that have lower, your rent is not as high, so you can save money. So a least expensive type of housing than to be renting out a condo or a home in the ghetto, and you riding around in the Escalade. Everybody think you got money and you ain't got shit. And that's why she was talking about these niggas is broke. Most of the black women she's probably broke too. And she didn't have any picture when she commented under my post. So I'm going to erase you. If you don't have a valid page, and if you make a stupid comment, I'm gonna race you because I'm gonna take you to spank. Here's my Andre break. That's that good shit. But yeah. Anyway, man. I mean, I just wanted to run that by you guys, man, because our mentalities, our mentality as a people is real screwed up, man. And black women are the forefront of this nonsense, and it has to stop, man. In order for because there's gonna be very few blacks moving up to the middle class, which can be attainable, but it's not gonna be attainable with that messed up mentality that we have with that hood rich mentality. What is hood rich? So, and what they mean by hood rich is they look like they have something, but they really don't have shit at all. Like you say, he can't pay his rent, and that's why I believe some whites are behind the writings of some of these songs. They'll put blacks out there, but you know, not to blame it on Whitey and things of that nature. But I mean, some of these guys wouldn't even probably have jobs if they didn't rhyme. But and some of this stuff is true, man. I mean, like he said, I can't pay my rent because my money's spent. What I'm saying? And he got an Escalade, but he can barely keep gas in it. I got a quarter. What he said? What's that? I think it was Birdman and Manny Fresh. I think that made that song. Got a quarter tank of gas in my new E-Class, but that's alright. So they have these big vehicles, but he can barely keep gas in it. And he can't even pay his own rent. And I know when I was struggling, man, I mean, I went to rent court and wasn't nothing but our people in there, man. Rent was spent. And I mean, and thank God I've come up from that hard time. But I mean, that was pretty rough, man. When I had lost my job, when I was making a lot less. And yeah, that was tough, bro. I mean, nothing but our people in the rent court. Wherever there's the worst of something, Section 8 is our people. Rent court, where they're about to throw you out. It's our people fills up the court. Any program where they're gonna give you money for a home, nothing but our people. But at the same time, I'm supposed to, have an Escalade and make it look like I have money when most of my people don't have shit. Why should I pretend? The whole world know we don't have shit. We don't. If you don't, and here's the thing: the lower amount of businesses you own, the less power you have. So the whole world, Arabs, Irish, Italians, they all know. Asians, Japanese, Chinese, they all know that we own the lowest number of businesses. They know that worldwide. So why should I have to pretend? It's no secret to them. You think they don't know who's on the bottom when it comes to big business? It's obvious, bro. And that's why you can get treated, in China they'll call you racial slurs. That's just like even worse than they will in America. They learn how to mask some of it in America, but you can get called, a nigga in China just like you can get called a nigga in the U.S. They know who's on the bottom, man. So why should I pretend by getting the Escalade just so I can make another black believe that I have something that the world knows that I can't afford, which they won't buy because they know it's not even worth it. But I just wanted to run that by y'all, man. That hood rich mentality and all the nonsense that comes with it. And like I said, if you're gonna leave a comment, leave one. Have a page that's worth the shit, because I'm gonna erase that shit if I don't take you seriously. But yeah, this your boy the author, and be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know what you think about this hood rich mentality that's pretty frequent in the black community, or the quote of the so-called African American community, Hebrew Israelite, whatever you want to call it. And just let me know what you think, man. Is that a problem, and how can we fix it and resolve it? So if you're offended, I'm glad. And I'm going to hit y'all back, man. Y'all stay safe out there, all right? It's your boy. I'm gone.